And what that needs to do, I think, in Wales for the housing association movement is to provide a basis that allows the housing association movement to be healthy, to be confident, to respond to tenants, to be accountable both to its existing tenants, potential tenants, to the local community, bring housing associations much more to the fore. I mean, it's very interesting. If you ask people, if I used to ask my constituents, unless they've been involved in housing associations, really didn't have a lot of idea of what they are. And yet they're so critical. And as the social enterprise model, which is, I think, enormously appealing in Wales, it really does fit the culture of Wales. Most people would not have any knowledge that that was going on, and really the potential for that is tremendous, certainly in terms of achieving some of the regeneration objectives. I think as I said, I won't go through the details of the report. I'm not sure I could bear to read them myself. I wouldn't respond. All those recommendations that were there, I apologise for all the recommendations. That was really my fault. But people had such important things to say that we didn't want to lose that opportunity of putting them in there. I felt it was to do a service to all the people that have responded and to the ideas and what we've done. We needed to put them in there. And those things about sustainable communities I feel so strongly about. I want to emphasise again, perhaps one of the things that I do want the Welsh Assembly government, I have absolute confidence that Jocelyn is fully behind this agenda, but I want this agenda to be owned right across the cabinet, to be honest, because it fits in everyone. It particularly fits this model of sustainability. But I thought when I was thinking about it again, about what I might say, there's three key areas that all this falls into, which are absolutely fundamental to making this happen. Firstly is that direction. You've got to have that direction, and we hope we put that in there, and targets help to give that direction, but I have to say they're not the be-all and end-all. Don't get fixated by one figure and say, this is it. We kept saying, we're not sure about that figure. Don't use it as the be-all and end-all. Use it as a guide, use it as a target, and you need to go through that figure. The old people in the housing association movement will be sick of hearing me say that, but the old Duracell bunnies that go up to the line and then they keep going. That's what's got to happen. It's got to have that sustained approach, and that direction is around commitment and it's around leadership. And I just want to say a word to local government here, because I do think you are absolutely pivotal. You are the strategic housing leaders. And there's been so much focus on stock transfer, and I understand that. I was a local government councillor for many years. Ownership and management of housing is absolutely bread and butter for people like me that came on housing, but it has dominated, I think, that the whole local authority agenda. And I think there's so much more that you can do. And some of the ideas, as Matthew said, that are coming out in England, I think are very interesting. I wouldn't have believed that we were going to be hearing that come out. But I think there needs to be more imagination around the role that local government can do around housing, more encouragement, more freedom, and certainly, in my view, that if this agenda is going to happen, your role is pivotal, because you are going to have to lead that and make sure that the strategic objectives and the local objectives absolutely marry up. And you are close to the ground in the way that the Welsh Assembly never has been and never will be. You are close to the ground to make sure that these things deliver. So I think there's a strong message of local government's role here, and a strong message of accountability back to the public. The public will want to know what's happening on this agenda. They will want to have explanations. So that direction and how that manifests itself is important. It's important about keeping the agenda going. It's important about having that leadership, and the leadership is one of bringing people together. Then there's a whole batch of things that we put in the report which are around enabling, and that's around policies, it's around regulation, it's around programmes, it's around making sure that the culture is right, the enabling culture. I think Jocelyn said that. I think that was one of the shocks that we had. I guess I knew it was there, but it was there with brass knobs on, really, that some of the cultures really need to be changed. It needs to be much more flexibility, much more responsiveness within risk management put into the system, so people can be innovative, can be creative, and can come up with good ideas and be responsive. And one of the things that I really hope comes through was the idea, we saw that good example, I think it was Mid-Wales Housing Association, about how for housing associations and others you can move to a tenure neutral situation. There's so much in our society, and it's part of that property investment culture where there are barriers about people, you know, we come across this all the time. If you're in social housing, you're in a different class. You know, if you own your own house, you're in another class. And that kind of blurring needs to take place, that tenure, that ability for people to move in and out of that arrangement and not to have stigmas attached, and to show that that range of accommodation, that range of tenure, that range, the ability to move, the ability to be responsive, is really what society is about. So the last one I want to say is about the delivery mechanisms, and we heard about the things on finance. It is crucially important that Wales is healthy to investors, even in this difficult time, that they do believe that we've got a house in order, they do believe we've got a regime that has a common purpose and works together and deliver. And it does actually mean that the government needs to think about how it can use its capital, the money that it has, to support you all in delivering this. Within the report, we came up very strongly that investing in social housing, or affordable housing, let's use that term, investing in affordable housing, if you do it in that integrated way that we're talking about, linking in with training, linking in with regeneration, linking in with climate change, if you have a mode of evaluating capital investment, I think money into affordable housing scores very, very highly. It can deliver you a lot of objectives and a lot of benefits in doing it. And we did emphasise the term best value as well. We have to make the best use of the finances we've got, and that requires a lot of people working together around the area of procurement, around the area of training, around the area of quality control. The last main thing I want to say is around performance. You know, when Jeremy Beecham came in to help us around the Connections agenda, the one thing he was very firm about is, he said, you're doing lots of things well in Wales, and you're to be congratulated on that, but you're very poor at performance monitoring, performance appraisal. And it's true. It's true. So I think, and we started to bring it in, but I think performance, the way that it's traditionally does, makes people defensive, because it's kind of, you know, we're not at the top of the league, or you're failing, and you know you haven't got your gold star or what have you. I think what's needed here is performance culture that is enabling in itself, that actually doesn't just count the numbers, it tells the story, it enables people to change and to grow, and it rewards and recognises good practice. There is so much good that can be actually, just by mainstreaming that across, can make so much difference. And of course, performance is a basic tool for accountability. And here again, I think local government has a critical role to play, of facing up to the performance in terms of that story of what you're doing, and working with those that need to be part of that story.